What's going on, guys? It's PokePond back with another video for you. We got loads to talk about today. We're going to be covering all sorts going on in the sealed market, from new releases in Scarlet and Violet all the way back to the older stuff in Sword and Shield. We're going to keep you updated with everything that's going on so that you don't have to pay too much attention, because there's so much going on in the market right now. Make sure you subscribe down below to never miss an opportunity. Let's get into it. So the big news this week was Journey Together came out, and all things considered, it wasn't a bad launch. We already knew that the demand in the market is going to really heavily outweigh the supply of product. We knew things were going to be difficult, but things really weren't as bad as I thought they were going to be, at least not here in the EU. I had a few opportunities from looking around. I'm not saying it was easy, I'm not saying it was on shop shelves everywhere, but I had a few opportunities after scouring a few websites to buy some Journey Together product. Not booster boxes, but I did see some half booster boxes which were an EU exclusive, and I did see some loose packs as well, like the sleeved booster packs available for retail. I had the opportunity to buy them for retail as well, and I chose not to. So just the fact that with a little bit of looking I could see those for retail, that shows that the launch wasn't as bad as it could have been. I understand a lot of people are upset, a lot of people struggled to buy product, but I really wouldn't worry too much. I think Journey Together is one of those sets that was always going to do well on release, because we're at a bit of a hype cycle at the moment and it's the new hot thing. But it's one of those sets that I think once we get some more sets further down the line, like the next Team Rocket set, etc., called Destined Rivals, which is going to be the next mainline set to come out, and some future sets towards the end of the block, I think that the attention's going to come off Journey Together a bit. And I think over the next 2 years of its product life cycle, of it getting reprinted, there's going to be plenty of opportunities to buy in for retail. The reason why I didn't buy in for retail is because I don't scout product. I plan to sit on them for a good while, a year, 2 years, and I'm very confident in the fact that I'll be able to pick this up for retail or close to retail in 6 months time, 8 months time. I don't think it's going to be a struggle. I can see it being like one of those sets, a bit like Temporal Forces and a bit like Paradox Rift, that is just sitting on shelves and no one's really touching it now, but within a few years time, once it starts to go out of print, that's when it's really going to start to appreciate in price. Because I'm quite confident I'm going to be able to have multiple opportunities to buy this for retail over the next couple of years, I'm not rushing into it now. I'd rather sit back, wait at least 6 months, see how the market sort of takes to the product, takes to the set. Once things settle down, once the PSA 10s start coming back, I can really then get a gauge on the set and whether I want to invest into it long term. But I'm not going to rush into Journey Together, and I did see some product for retail. So I think all in all, not a bad launch. They were never going to get it right with the demand. They were never going to pre-predict the fact that we're in such a hype cycle at the moment for the market. But can they correct that over the next 2 years? 2 years is a lot of time for them to correct that and get those printers fired up. So I'm quite confident that Journey Together is going to get quite a few waves of reprints. And we might even see a situation where we start seeing it below retail in 12 to 16, 17 months time. If I see it for below retail in that time and the market's really sort of taken to it in the first 6 months, that's when I'm really going to pull the trigger and start moving into Journey Together. But for me, the set's just a bit average and a bit overhyped. It's not a bad set. I think I will invest into it long term, but I'm just not rushing in to do it on launch. I'm going to wait and see what the reprints are like in the print numbers. Last sold in the US right now is sub 200 a box, which is quite reasonable considering, like I said, people can't really get their hands on product, not enough supplies there for the demand. The booster bundles go for $50. I think that's super risky. If you're buying that as an investment, that is a super risky investment, a booster bundle for $50. That's what, like $50 a pack or something on release. They could easily mass print and mass produce these booster bundles. I would imagine the people buying these for $50 are people that are buying it to open it, or to open it through their businesses and sell the single packs via a local card store where they can turn it and make more money, or through sort of like live streaming and whatnot. So let's have a look at the UK then. If you're new to the channel, I compare both US and UK markets. I feel like it gives us a real unique perspective, because often we have times that we have stock that's available that you guys don't, and vice versa. And generally that helps me to predict what's going to go ahead in the market. And if you look back through the channel, there's over 12 months of content where I'm making these predictions, and most of the time, they do come true. So this is not financial advice. I have to state that for you. This is just someone who's been doing this and investing in Pokemon for a very long time, nearly a decade, since the end of the XY era. I've seen trends come and go. I'm getting pretty good at predicting which sets are going to perform well over time. I've made a significant amount of money doing this, but that is not the goal. I still just super enjoy collecting, and as a collector, I just like sealed product. Sealed product is the collection piece for me. Let's have a look then at what's in stock at the moment, and it's not going to take long to go through that, unfortunately. Pokemon Center US is completely sold out of every single product in the booster pack section. Not lying to you, there's no crazy filters on. All I've done is sorted it. I haven't even sorted it. It's just by relevance. Okay, high to low, so we can see all the booster boxes first. Everything sold out. Nice to see Destined Rivals there as well. I think that Destined Rivals, the new Team Rocket set, is going to be huge. Prices are going to be crazy for this. It's going to be really hard to get your hands on this early. It's one of those few sets that I'm quite hyped about, that I think will perform really well from the outset. And it is something that I will consider buying on release for more than retail if I can't get my hands on it for retail. But we'll talk more about that closer to the time, closer to the release. But as yet, no stock of anything on Pokemon Center US. Not unexpected, really, with the way the market is going at the moment. The UK market is slightly different. We have Paradox Rift and Temporal Forces booster boxes available in stock. Temporal Forces is probably the better buy of that at the moment, but personally, I don't know. I'm not going to... I am buying Temporal Forces at the moment for retail. I'm not going to lie to you. However, it's not like my prime focus. I'm just picking up a few to sort of balance out my risk, and to just have my fingers in more pies, so to speak, especially with Modern. It's a good opportunity to pick up a decent set that's rising in popularity, and I think that it will do really well long term. So I am buying into Temporal Forces. I just think that if you're buying into like 1 or 2 sets over the next few months, I probably wouldn't go for Temporal Forces. I think there's some better options that we're going to discuss later on in this video. There's also some miscellaneous products here as well. A little bit of Shrouded Fable booster bundles, Temporal Forces booster bundles, and just some miscellaneous odd packs and some Trick or Trade, some Halloween set. I don't think that's really going to do that well long term. I think your money's better off in other products. And Pokemon Go, a couple of products there as well. Let's talk about Twilight Masquerade then. So Twilight Masquerade was in stock in the UK last week. I said to you guys, getting that for retail from source was crazy, because eBay was already a higher price, and it's already out of stock again. Twilight Masquerade is one of those sets that they've named in this current wave of reprints. However, Twilight Masquerade, I don't feel like the reprint is or was going to be that big. We may see more Twilight Masquerade get printed over the next couple of months, but I really don't think it's going to be that significant. I think that they're going to be focused more on the newer sets like reprinting Journey Together, that's going to be huge because that's a new big set. They want people to be able to get product of the new set 100%. So I think most of the reprints are going to go into Journey Together. I think that they're going to put more planning resources into Destined Rivals to make sure they've got more stock of that available on release. And I don't think they can print enough of Destined Rivals, the new Team Rocket set. I think either way, there's not going to be enough to go around on release day and for quite a while after release day. So I think that they're going to put more of their focus onto those more modern sets. I do think they'll print a little bit more Twilight Masquerade, but I really don't think it'll be a huge amount. So Twilight Masquerade is one of those sets that I really believe in, because if you look at the charts here for the last 3 months, you actually saw it climb up to a really decent and respectable 232 at its peak on average on TCG Player. $232 for a set that's still in print, I think is really strong. And the fact that you can quite often get it for at or around retail price, I think that it's going to do really well, and now's a pretty good time to pounce on Twilight Masquerade. Yes, it is still technically in print. Yes, they could still print a lot more of it, but I think it's becoming less and less likely. And as the months tick by, it gets even less likely. It's getting up there in age now. I don't know how, because I remember it like it was yesterday, it coming out on release, but it's getting there. It's getting there up in age. And as it starts to reach that 2-year print window, I think we're going to really see a appreciation in price. And just the fact that it climbed up to around about this peak in February of around 232 while it was still in print, I think speaks volumes for how well the set's going to do over the next couple of years. And I think it's just going to go strength to strength, and I think it's going to be one of the top 3 sets from what I've seen so far, mainline sets of Scarlet and Violet going forward. I think Destined Rivals is going to be up there as well. Journey Together might be. I think Paldea Evolved is going to be up there as well. It just depends what happens later on in the block and what sets we get after Team Rocket, how strong they are. But I think Twilight Masquerade is a strong buy at the moment. We saw a dip down in price here from its all-time high at the end of February. This is when they announced that they were going to be reprinting some more Twilight Masquerade, but honestly it's still holding strong, well above retail there for 207 on the average, with last sales around 212, more around the 200 mark, probably averaging about 210, something like that. I think Twilight Masquerade is quite a strong buy at the moment. Personally, last sold on eBay US $209, last sold in the UK on eBay £146. That's retail. Like I said, it was available for retail from the source from Pokemon Center UK last week for basically the same price. So the fact that it's gone out of stock already within 7 days and you can still pick them up for retail on eBay is a really strong indicator for the set. Let's talk about Prismatic Evolutions very briefly. It seems to just be stalling in price at the moment just because we're not getting any more ETBs at the moment. It seems anyway. We're not seeing any more product getting released. $135 for an ETB of Prismatic. I think that's a bit of a scary price to be paying for such a new set. I know Prismatic Evolutions is good and I think it will do well over the next couple of years, but for such a new set that's in print to be paying $140 for the ETB, it's just risky, guys. Last sale on eBay US, $130 right there. That was on a buy it now on a new listing as well, so it got bought out almost straight away. And you can see the danger here because you can see the swing in price. Just between 2 days, you've got one on a buy it now for $130 and one for $110. There's more for $110. So you just jump $20 for like no obvious reason within less than 24 hours of it selling. So a little bit of international arbitrage going on here as well. We've talked about that on the channel, about people from the UK selling to the US because it's a little bit cheaper to get it here in the UK. I think that I've touched on that. Look, there's more here. Look, more from the UK, $116. Yeah, $130 from the US, $110 from the US. Quite a swing in price, $20 swing in price, or you can get an import from the UK. But You know how I feel about that. Last sold in the UK then, £98 for the booster box. Just kind of mad in my opinion that it costs that much to get an ETB, but it's supply and demand. People are FOMOing into it hard. Do I think that it's going to drop down in price? It just depends how much they print it over the next 2 years. I think there's a very good chance that these will drop back down. I don't think you'll ever really see them for retail again, but I could see them dropping to like anywhere between like £70 to £80. I'd be quite confident to buy more ETBs at like £70, which is about a 30% reduction in what they're going for at the moment. In the US, I mean, what are they going for? 130. I probably wouldn't pay more than like $85 for one in the future. I think $85 is like a good price point. If you see them for that in the future, I think that's a good buy-in price. Anything sort of sub $90 I think is a good deal going forward, but we'll just have to wait and see how much gets reprinted of it. Just be cautious of it. Next, we're going to have a look at Surging Sparks. We did warn people around this point that Surging Sparks is going to crash in price. Surging Sparks had a crazy run up in price, up to $263 on the average. Now we're really starting to see it plummet back down in price to something a bit more realistic. I think that, and here's a crazy take on this that a lot of people won't agree with, I think we're going to see Surging Sparks for retail price within the next year and a half. We're going to see it sitting on shelves for at and below retail. I really do think that that's going to happen. And the reason why is because I think Surging Sparks is new enough that it's going to get heavy reprints. And I think they're going to get it wrong. I think they're going to mass print Surging Sparks way more than demand, and the market's just going to move on. The market's going to be wanting more Destined Rivals and more Prismatic Evolutions and whatever comes after that. And I think that we're going to see a situation in the near future where Surging Sparks is going to be like Paradox Rift and Temporal Forces, and it's just going to sit. And that's when I'm going to move into Surging Sparks. Anything retail or sub-retail for Surging Sparks, I'm going to buy instantly. But I'm not moving into Surging Sparks until it gets anywhere closer to retail. Because I do think that it's a good set, but it just doesn't demand this for such a new set. It never should have been $264. That's just the demand for it, massively outweighing the supply, because people could make so much money on it on the live auction streams and stuff like that. So yeah, $253 on the average price for last sold. Just be very cautious about Surging Sparks. Like I said, the reason why I showed it quickly is because I think that this crash is going to continue, and we're going to see it crash right down very quickly to around about $200. And then what I'd like to see is more reprints of it and it come back to the retail range. And I do think that that will happen over the next year or so. Let's have a talk about Paldea Evolved. Sorry, I've got a little bit of allergies going on at the moment, so I may have to cut the video a little bit. Paldea Evolved is one of my strong buys at the moment. I'm buying quite heavy into Paldea Evolved. It did get announced that it's going to get some reprints. Hasn't really affected the price. I haven't really seen any for retail popping up. I think that the reprints are going to be so minimal that it's really not going to affect the price that much. It's already climbed up to an all-time high in February of around about 227, and it's just sat around that all-time high. Look, last sale 227. Bang on, sale from today, it's at an all-time high still. People aren't affected by Paldea Evolved reprints, and it's nearly at that 2-year mark where it's out of print. I think Paldea Evolved is a really strong buy, and I think that it's going to continue to climb up in price over the next 2 years because it's going to be out of print. We're not going to get any more of it, and the fact that it can climb up to like 227 for a modern booster box that's like not gone out of print yet, I think that that's really strong. And the thing I like about Paldea Evolved is we've got data. We've seen what the market does. Look, we can see a whole year's worth of data there. And you can just see the chart. Over the last year, 110% profit. really, really strong for Paldea Evolved. I think that it's going to do really well long term, and it's nearly out of print. So I really like all of those things. Last sold in the US, $214. I think that's going to look really cheap. If you look back in a year's time, you're going to wish you bought more of those for $214. And in the UK here, $170 a box. Basically, like, not that far off of retail. If retail's like $145-ish, that's really not that bad. 30 quid off of retail for a set that's really strong. We've seen strong growth for it over the last 2 years on the charts, and it's nearly out of print. I think Paldea Evolved is a really good buy, as is Crown Zenith. You can see some Crown Zenith behind me on the shelf as well. I'm buying quite heavy into Crown Zenith too. Out of print, basically. It is the last sort of speciality set from the Sword and Shield era, and it's just continuing to rise up in price. Last on TCG Player, 122, 126, 132, 139.98, $140. That's the highest I've ever seen Crown Zenith go. It is again just week on week hitting all-time highs. I think it's just going to continue to climb. Crown Zenith is probably one of my top selections right now for sets that are going to do well over the next year. I mean, just look at the chart. Last 3 months, it's up 78%. You're not getting any more of it. It's just going to keep pumping, I think. Just slowly climbing week on week on week, smashing its all-time highs. What's going to stop it? I don't know. Last sold in the US, $120. Last sold in the UK, £125. But if we scroll down a little bit, look, 130, 130, 135. I bought those behind me for like 115, £115 not that long ago. And even then, it seemed like quite expensive buying them at 115. That was peak of the market, and now they're like nearly 140, so that's good. Those of you who've been watching for a while know that I really want to buy one of these, not as an investment, but for my collection. The Pokemon Center Elite Trainer Box Plus for Crown Zenith. I think it just looks amazing, and every week I say it, and every week they get more and more expensive. 213 with some postage last sale. I really do need to treat myself and just buy it and put it behind me on the shelf, but yeah, otherwise I'm going to regret it. But I don't know, it's hard for me to buy it because it's like such a bad investment at the same time. It's 100% a collection piece, but there you go. 151 is actually doing bits as well. 43% price rise over the last 3 months. I think it's getting less and less likely we're going to see more 151 Elite Trainer boxes. It's definitely a play. It's not a play I'm making at the moment, but it is definitely a play. Just continues to surprise me and just keep going up in price, really. Last sold on TCG Player, 208. 275, that looks like price manipulation. I doubt that sale actually went through. 208, 200, 200, 200. Really strong for a Elite Trainer box to be that price while it's still technically in print window. Last sold in the US, 209. Look at this, Pokemon Center exclusive version going for $440. Here's another one going for $450. That is absolutely ludicrous. There is no way I would risk buying a Pokemon Center 151 Elite Trainer box for nearly $500. I can think of some much better things that I would rather buy for $500 than that. For example, some of the nice Sword and Shield sets are around about that $500 for a booster box. I'd much rather have that. But it is still a play, and I will still point it out to you. Be very cautious, though, about these Pokemon Center Elite Trainer boxes. Yes, they do go up in price. Yes, they are a lot more scarce than the normal ones, but you're always going to be safer as an investment point of view buying the normal Elite Trainer boxes for speciality set, because the pack to cost ratio just gives you that extra insurance. I mean, how many packs are in the 151 Elite Trainer box? Like 9, right? 209 divided by 9. £23 a pack. Now, I know you get extras and you've got the scarcity of the Pokemon Center exclusive, but to pay like double the price is just kind of crazy to me. It's incredibly risky. Let's have a look at the UK then. £177 last sold. 170 on an auction there, and the Pokemon Center exclusive going for 302. Let's have a look at some of these Sword and Shield sets then that we were talking about. We've already had a little look at Crown Zenith, which is going to be one of my favourite buys for Sword and Shield at the moment. But let's have a look and run down at the other booster box movements in prices this week. We'll quickly zip through. Evolving Skies last sold $13.10, $12.95, $12.50, hovering between anywhere between $1,200 and $1,300. Really strong, has been sat there for around about a month and a half, and it is within like 8% of its all-time high. You'll notice a trend when I'm going through the rest of these sets that pretty much all of Sword and Shield, the decent sealed sets, are either at their all-time high or they're within like 10% of their all-time high. So just because things aren't going up week on week on week like we've had earlier on in the year with some of these Sword and Shield sets, the fact that they're all just sat either at all-time high or within 10% of their all-time high is massive, and it really does show the strength behind these sets. And these are all out of print now. You're not getting any more of them. You need to remember that every single day some of these boxes are getting opened. Less and less supply of these are sitting on the market. And even just looking through like Evolving Skies last sold, they're getting rarer. Like, look at this. So yesterday, last sold in the US, $1,194, basically $1,200, which is a strong price. I mean, they peaked at what, like $1,400 for like a day or so. But the fact that they're regularly selling for like between $1,200 and $1,300 is really strong, and they're in a position where they're poised, where they could easily just start chunking up in price over the next year. They could go $1,300, $1,400, $1,500, $1,600. Then we're breaking all-time highs, and then who's going to stop the train from rolling? The supply in the market is only good because they're sort of sat. I don't want to say stagnant, I want to say stable. They're more like stable in price, around $1,200. So that's kind of the agreed sell price and buy price. But I guarantee once they start going up in price again, once they start hitting all-time highs, $1,500, $1,600, they'll accelerate up, because no one wants to sell them when they're shooting up in price. And already the supply on the market is quite low. Like, let's have a look at sales then. So last sold yesterday, 1,200 quid. Scroll down. How long do we have to go before we see another one that's an actual real one? So there's another one on the same day for 1,200. And then you have to go back 4 days to get another one, and it went for $1,600, and it's an import from the UK. That's kind of crazy. So we've had 3 sell in since the 24th, which is 5 days. 3 sold in 5 days. One of them's an international import for crazy money as well. So really, realistically, like 2 sold for market price in the last 5 days. How far back do we have to go for another one? I haven't actually looked at this, so this is interesting for me to see as well. And then the next one, okay, so one did sell on the 27th as well. But this is what I'm talking about. Like, at max, you're seeing like 1 a day on average sell. When these start shooting up in price again, when these start going to $1,600, $1,700, and there's only 1 a day, people are going to FOMO into them, and that's just going to push the price up more and more and more. People will pay a premium to get into it because they're like, oh, it's shooting up again in price. And once we get to that stage, I think that it'll quite quickly shoot up to $2,000 a box. How long is it going to take us until we get to that stage in the market where they start accelerating up? That I don't know. It could take 6 months, it could take 12 months for it to get to that point, but I am very confident it will happen within the next 12 to 18 months, and we're going to see a $2,000 Evolving Skies box. I don't think there's many people in the market that don't think that Evolving Skies will go to 2k a box at some point soon. Let's have a look at last sold in the UK then. 1250, creeping back up in price again, because we saw some sell as low as like just under £1,000. I saw one sell for like, I want to say £990 like 2 weeks ago. Again, getting close to that all-time high here in the UK. So that sale was from the 24th, so like 5 days ago. Really not many getting sold here in the UK at the moment. Let's have a look at Fusion Strike then. Fusion Strike, it looks like it's just chilling here in price, but it's not that far off of the all-time high, and this is what I was trying to say with Evolving Skies. All-time high, $490. I think we saw one sell for like $499 a couple of weeks ago, right on the border of that $500. That's the highest we've ever seen. And look, last sales, $470, $466, $469, basically averaging around about that $470 mark. $30 off of all-time high. That's like 7-8% off of its all-time high. And look, it's stable at that price as well. All of these sets are in such a good position where they could easily just start shooting up in price. And I do think it will happen. It's just a matter of when. Last sold in the US, $470. See, highest we saw was like $499. That's so close to its all-time high. Don't be disheartened by the fact that these aren't shooting up 10% week on week on week like they were earlier on in the year or like end of last year. Don't be disheartened. I think that Sword and Shield is still an insane investment. Last sold in the UK on an auction, 332 quid. That just seems super cheap to me. I think that these will easily be at least £500 a box pretty soon. Lost Origin at its all-time high. Not even within a percentage range of its all-time high. Lost Origin is at its all-time high and to me looks cheap. Last sold 395, 395, 400, 396. Sat on that 400 mark and stable for the last couple of weeks as well. Last sold in the US 355, last sold in the UK 326. Just looks cheap. Anything in the 3 range, $300 to $400, £300 to £400, just looks mad cheap to me. There's no way in my mind that that isn't a £500 box all day long, a $600 box all day long. It's just a matter of time. You just got to be patient, hold it for a little while, and I do think it will quite easily achieve those figures and far beyond. I don't see a situation where Lost Origin, if I look back in 2 years' time, it's not a $1,000 box. Or it's a £1,000 box. Or both. Do you know what I mean? Like, give it a couple of years, I do think it's going to see those numbers. Chillin' Rain, it looks, oh no, it's down on the chart. Like, yeah, but let's zoom out a year. It's up 60%. We saw a massive run up in price here, and then we've just stabilised. A little bit of a price correction, and it's just stable. It's within 8% of its all-time high. It's at 342. Average last sold is 315, 320. So it's what, $22 off of its all-time high? They're not making any more, Chillin' Rain. They're not making any more. I think we're going to see a big run up on Sword and Shield over the next 12 months. Now is your opportunity to buy into these for not too bad of an inflated price. $315 for Chillin' Rain, last sold in the US for a nice minty box. In the UK, $312, snapped up on a buy it now. 4 days before that, $271, sub $300 a box, guys. Just looks cheap to me. Astral Radiance sat at its all-time high, and not even in a percentile range of its all-time high. It's just sat at its all-time high in a market where everyone is looking at Ultramodern. Everyone's looking at the new thing. They're looking at Journey Together. They're looking at Destined Rivals. They're looking at Prismatic Evolutions. Astral Radiance, just chilling at an all-time high. No one's looking at it. Just creeping up in price, just doing its thing. Astral Radiance is a great buy, in my opinion. Great set, out of print, 280 on the average. Last sold in the US, 260. Last sold in the UK, 193. Guys, sub 200 a box for Astral Radiance. It seems like a no-brainer to me. really good buy. I'm just going to quickly whiz through Brilliant Stars and Silver Tempest. Again, just sat pretty much at its all-time high. All-time high is like 294 on the average. Last sold 299. Okay, so it's at an all-time high right now. The interesting thing about Brilliant Stars and Silver Tempest is they're sat around that $300 mark. I've been talking about this over the last couple of weeks in my video. I think that $300 is a very psychological point, and it's very difficult for a set to break through there. I don't think that it's going to have an issue breaking through. It's just going to take a bit of time, and you're going to see price rebound off of this $300 price point for a little while until it gains up in steam. And I think that part of what's going to help push it through for Brilliant Stars and Silver Tempest is the other sets moving. I think that once Fusion Strike and Astral Radiance start to move again, start to get those 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10% gains over the weeks and start accelerating, that's when people are going to FOMO in and start buying more Brilliant Stars and Silver Tempest. But until then, I think that it's going to hover around about that $300 mark. Once they start consistently selling for more than $300, so around about $320, $340, that's when you're really going to see it start ramping up in price. It just needs to break that ceiling price of around about $300, and you can see that Brilliant Stars has just been bouncing around that $300 mark for almost 3 months now. Last sold 299, 285, 293, 304. Like I said, once we start seeing regular sales of around about 320 plus for Brilliant Stars, that's when you know it's really going to start ramping up in price, and I might start buying more of it. Silver Tempest, again, creeping up in price, sat at an all-time high, but approaching that $300 mark. So I predict that it's going to sit at that $300 mark. It's going to climb up to around about $300 quite quickly over the next month or two, but then it's going to sit there like Brilliant Stars for the next month or two after that, struggling to break that $300 mark. You'll see a few sales over, a few sales under, and it's just going to consolidate for a little while until more of it gets cracked open and more of a focus starts going into Sword and Shield as the other sets start to accelerate up in price, and that's when we're really going to see Silver Tempest and Brilliant Stars start to move up in price. The last thing I wanted to talk to you guys about is Obsidian Flames. I like to sometimes take this end of the video to just do a little bit of a different section. I'll highlight a set and talk about it for a little while. Obsidian Flames, I think, is a very interesting set in my opinion. People hated Obsidian Flames off of the bat, and I watched some other Pokemon investment YouTubers that are bigger than me that all said that Obsidian Flames is an awful set, you should never buy into it, it's Darkness Ablaze Part 2, it's awful, it will never gain up in price. You have to be very careful about taking investment Pokemon YouTubers' advice, and that includes myself as well. I try to make an opinion on what's going on in the market right now and not bring emotion into it. However, other people that definitely have a bigger reach than me in this investment Pokemon YouTuber weird niche space have let me explain it this way. They all slated Obsidian Flames. Now they're saying it's the best thing to invest into. It is very easy for people to act like they were always behind a set when it's going up in price. I've said from the beginning that I like Obsidian Flames, and I've bought into it early. Even when it was sat on the shelves for below retail, no one wanted to touch it. Everyone thought it was overprinted, it was garbage. You've got the one Charizard chase, and that's it. I mean, you also have Tyranitar as well. But they were basically saying it's Charizard or bust, it's not going to do well. Let's just have a look at the charts and what's going on with Obsidian Flames at the moment. 50% increase in price over the last 3 months. Getting close to out of print window. Just every time I look, it's at an all-time high. $204 there from a sale today, this morning in the US. Also, above it, $240. That's quite a swing up in price. That's a 20% swing up in price between two sales on the same day, like today. I think that Obsidian Flames could catch a lot of people out, and I just find it really interesting that a lot of people thought that it was a bad set, and that a lot of people said never buy into it, it's going to be awful. And it's just really interesting that those same people are now saying Obsidian Flames is amazing because it's going up in price. And the moral we can take away from that story is you need to form your own opinions. Because if I'd have listened to them, I wouldn't have bought any Obsidian Flames for sub-retail. I bought some booster boxes of Obsidian Flames. I didn't buy a lot. I bought between 3 and 5 booster boxes. The reason I say between 3 and 5 is because I didn't own them all at the same time. So I bought 2 initially, sub-retail. I sold 1, I bought 1 back. I sold 1, I bought 1 back. So I did take profit on them. I'm not scalping because at no point did I ever sell them for more than retail. The ones that I sold, I bought for heavily reduced below retail when I saw good bargains, and I sold them for retail when they were at retail price. So I sold them for market. I think Obsidian Flames is a good set. I'm still going to hold on to it. I'm not massively invested into it, but I just thought it was a really good talking point for explaining how you need to use these kind of videos to make your own opinion. Okay, I can give you the information and my knowledge from doing this for a long time, but you need to develop your own senses for what you think is going to be good or not. And that's what's going to make you successful in doing this kind of thing. I will always point out plays to you when I see them though. Obsidian Flames is a play. You can still pick it up for fairly reasonable prices. Week on week, it's going for more than retail. Seems like a good buy to me. Make sure you subscribe down below to never miss an opportunity. If you enjoyed the video as well, give it a thumbs up. It really helps push the video out there further and helps the channel. Hope you have a wonderful day and peace.